You are welcome. Don't come to sit down. You better go down and present your work.
Can you hold on, Madam Chair? Mr. Chairperson, I have not finished with cassava. Okay. Where is Favor? Okay. Where is Favor? Where is she going to? She should come back. I'm sorry, coordinator. I need to even introduce you. So, Mr. Chairperson, I'm doing this for a reason. So we have Favor. Dr. Mrs. Favor Kapo is the very first female coordinator of cassava of the Institute. You know, they say if you want something to be spoken about, give it to a man. You know, like if you want the talk to be done, give it to a man. But if you want the work done, give it to a woman. So we are here to support the female scientists with, she's handling one of our biggest crop, if not the biggest crop. And you may look at her, she's as size as myself, but she has a lot of power and fire inside of her, and we want to bring it out. So she has all the support that the Institute needs, especially she's a cassava breeder, so she has access to cassava breeding money from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation through the CG to support her work, and also has the support of the one by Dr. Gochijoke to do the post-harvest and food science work. I've told them that this year there is no anyhowness. Cassava program is a brand new program. So watch out for cassava program. Thank you. The other one is our new coordinator. She's new. She's brand new. Are you not new?
No, her name is New.
Well, don't answer for her. So she's new. So many times we hear people say neglected crop. You know what you say is what happens. So we are careful with how we use words now. They say neglected crop. We say underutilized crop. And they become what we say. So you now say minor root crops. They are always minor. Nobody considers them major. Even turmeric, that is major, we are calling it minor. That's why it's minor in our hands. So we've decided that we will not go that route again. We are going global. We're already global, so we need to align with the global that we are. And so what we used to call minor root crops or other root crops is now called opportunity root crops. So from now onwards, they will be providing new opportunities. And we know that our sister here will be able to manage it well and begin to receive new opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
By the grace of God, I appreciate you, my ED. I thank God for using you to change the name of former minor root crops to opportunity root crops program. And these crops, by the time we finish, you will see that it has so many, they have so many opportunities that farmers, business people can harness to make money in this country. Even our country, Nigeria, as things are going on, make money with it. On that note, my chairman, and ED, distinguished guests, my fellow scientists, good afternoon. May I stand on the existing protocol to welcome you to Opportunity Root Cross Program and to present the 2023 annual report and research proposal for 2024. Next. Proposal. Turmeric, these are the opportunity root crops. Turmeric is one of them. Next. Hausa potato, Livingstone potato, Risga, and Next Amora. Next Amora. Next. Next slide. Those are the staff. Next. Annual report. Since this program came into being, no breeding work has been done in our opportunity root crops. And when we came on board, we saw no, it's not normal. We have to start doing something on breeding. And we started with phenotype characteristics and Nrcri to numeric germplasm for population improved studies. Okay, sorry. The objective of the work is to assess the genetic variability and accession among various yield attributes of turmeric for population improvement studies. 12 genotypes were used, planted in a randomized complete block design, replicated 3 times. And looking at the, it was coded. You know, breeders, they code their work. It was coded. Looking at the table, the text that was used, I've not seen this thing very well. The table that was used was the text that are there, about 12 in number. From the result, we discovered that the germplasm lines exhibited wide range of variability. Heritability was high for all the traits. That is to say, if you look at them, the heritability, there was none that was less than 60%. And if there is none that is not less than 60%, that means it's very high. All of them are higher than 60%, and therefore, PCV indicate we are higher than the GCV. There are possibility of obtaining very high selection response in respect to these characters. Then we looked at if you look at the pie chart of this, the one highlighted with colors, the green was the AAC4, AAC3, and AAT3. They were the best genotype, which with high yield and curcumin content among the 12 turmeric genotype that was studied. The ones highlighted with the green colors are the ones selected for breeding work. This work has been completed. It was done in Umudike for now. What the next step should have been to take it to other locations in Nigeria, and if it gives us the same result we got here, then it can be used as or released as a turmeric variety. Next. Next. We looked at morphological characteristics of Nigerian turmeric land races. Is to determine the turmeric land races for morphological and rhizome characters based on US descriptor guideline, and to determine high yielding turmeric land races. I'm sorry, the whole thing looks so blunt. I don't know why. The objective, the experiment was planted in Umudike. 12 genotype land races was used and was looked. The table showed that the findings showed that out of the 12 varieties, descriptor traits, I think this will be better. I have my computer. Let me check, please let me check this. Are you people seeing it very well? Can I use my computer, please? Can I have my computer, please? Don't bother about just.
Coordinator, your time is going.
Coordinator has some challenges which we need to move on with her. Sometimes technology fails us, so we need to give her some time. Yeah. Yeah.
Computer operator, is there anything you can do to help her see properly?
Okay, are you okay, ma? Okay.
Let me manage it. The findings show that out of the 15 distinctor traits used for this experiment, number of mother rhizome, mother of tillers, height, liminal length, and all those traits that were found in the table above there showed
Please,
that
quietness, please.
Ajo Abera Aofe gave the highest yield 5.27. The variation analyzed using DUS character offers a bright scope for selection in future breeding. No duplication among the 12 turmeric clan races used. Ajo Abaredo has the highest yield, 5.27 tons per hectare, followed by the rest of them. You look at the ones that are highlighted with red, those are the ones that are good for breeding, selection for breeding. A recommendation, we recommended that turmeric clan races such as Ajo, Abarodo, and the rest of them will offer an agronomic background for breeding yield, high yield turmeric clan races. Next. Acute toxicity, lipid profile, and body duration of rats fed with extracts from different cucuma. We fed them with, according to their weight. We gave them 500 milligram per kilogram and 1,000 milligram per kilogram, according to their weight. The control was busy gaining weight, while the ones that was fed with the turmeric was losing weight. Looking at the lowered, the one with the control, if you look at it very well, you will see that the cholesterol level of the control was higher than all the ones that was fed with turmeric. That is to say that turmeric you can use to lose weight. It can control cholesterol when you use them. That confirms it. Next. Then we looked at the evaluation of proximate composition and curcumin content of 3 cucumber species. You know, yes, you might say that try to look at the 3 species of turmeric that we have: Curcuma longa, Curcuma xanthorrhiza, and Curcuma domestica, the one they call white turmeric, that are not being used. So looking at the result, these things were analyzed, fresh were analyzed. And from the results, we discovered that curcumin was found in a very large amount in Curcuma longa, followed by Curcuma xanthorrhiza, and a small amount in domestica. Curcuma longa is highest in nutritional composition as well as in curcuma content. The claimed bioactivity in Curcuma domestica may not be attributed to curcumin, as the level is low. What are we saying here? We are saying that people, our literature said that Curcuma domestica has health benefit. From our work here, we are saying that that health benefit that is given by Curcuma domestica might not be due to curcumin content, because it has low curcumin content. Might be due to another active ingredient that needs to be looked into. Next. Then we looked at comparative effects of biochar and lime on soil resource-based yield and quality of turmeric rhizome in Umudike, eastern Nigeria. We want to compare the effects of biochar and conventional lime to ameliorate soil acidity, you know, especially in this our area, the soil is acidic, and to improve yield of turmeric rhizome in Umudike. Pre-cropping sample was taken, and soil samples were taken and analyzed at harvest was taken also, and they were analyzed, subjected to analysis. The yield data was also taken. The biochar we are talking about is something like that in that place. From the results, NPK 1515 was applied as a booster. From the results, we discovered that biochar at 6 tons per hectare gave the highest yield. Biochar generally, yes, lime reduced soil acidity, but biochar gave the reduced soil acidity and also increased soil fertility, increased yield, and increased the nutrient content of the soil, and it can sustain soil fertility. And therefore, we say our key finding is the results showed that biochar reduced soil acidity, improved soil quality, and increased turmeric rhizome yield more than lime. Our take home is using biochar as lime material increased turmeric yield more than the conventional lime while serving as alternative to boost fertility status of Umudike soil. Next. We looked at effects of time of application of organic foliar fertilizer on yield and quality of rhizome seed of turmeric. Well, from the results, we discovered that looking at the table, we looked at the different time of application of this foliar fertilizer. We looked at 4, 6, 2, 4, 8 weeks after planting. From our results, we discovered that 8 weeks, and we used 2 species to look at this work, Xanthorrhiza and Cucuma longa. As both Xanthorrhiza and Cucuma longa gave the highest yield at 8 weeks after planting. You can see it, the ones highlighted with red color there. So we are saying that our take home is that the use of foliar organic fertilizer stimulates rhizome development and increases quality rhizome seed. And therefore, we are saying in recommendation, therefore, for the optimum production of turmeric using booster extra, it is recommended to be applied at 8 weeks after planting. Next. We are able to look at assessment of indigenous knowledge of rice production, storage, processing, and utilization among the biomes of Plateau State. The objective is document the management practices, consumption, and utilization of pattern of biomes to RISGA. And the study showed, the study was carried out in Jos South, Jos North, Barrack-in-Ladi, and Riom in LGAs of Plateau State. From the results, the other objectives are there. From the result, RISGA farming is predominantly carried out by female in small farm. Farmers cultivate manually, use saved seeds, and cultivated 4 land races, and apply mostly organic fertilizer. Farmers cultivated RISGA both for domestic consumption and sales. RISGA farmers face challenges such as low soil fertility, weed problems, inadequate land, and lack of farm inputs. And therefore, we are concluding saying, to harness the potential of RISGA in contributing to food security, future efforts should be focused on addressing identified challenges that we have said, highlighted up there, promoting sustainable farming practice and integrating indigenous knowledge with modern agriculture technologies. Next. Women and youth cooperative awareness, attitude, and participation towards turmeric processing in Southeast Nigeria. We are able to look at, it is a gender specific work. We are looked at women and youth. How do they perceive this turmeric work? We looked at, is it clean? We use cleaning and peeling turmeric. Is it difficult? Slicing, is it difficult? Drying, is it difficult? And all this, we are able to discover that from the result, it was observed that the processing technology is very easy, and the respondent disagreed that it is expensive. That is to say, they said that processing of turmeric is not expensive and it is not difficult. It also enhances their household multidimensional well-being and improves the living standard of the rural dwellers. And therefore, in conclusion, we said the respondent has a positive effect of turmeric processing. The ground mean is 2.85. They strongly agree that technology is very easy and understandable. There is high level of utility of turmeric products. It is therefore recommended to the harvested rhizomes. Diggers designed in a way to uproot turmeric rhizome effectively. The machine was designed in a way that it was developed such in a way that it could be maintained and repaired. We are talking about that. What you're seeing there is the machine that was fabricated. Some of you that came to our stand yesterday saw it, we exhibited it there. And the lesson learned here is that there is need to invest in this technology. I am saying that there is need to invest in this technology because it will interest you that this harvester can also harvest ginger too. And it can be used for both of them. And key achievements, the machine will enhance farmers' efficiency and capacity in turmeric production. Next. Yeah, we also looked at farmers' perception of turmeric production as a business in Abia State. We want to look at turmeric now as a business. It's not something people use small in their houses. So can we make money from turmeric? Yes.
Can you please start rounding up?
We looked at it with all these parameters, and we discovered from the result that the best way they said turmeric can be put into business is through making it in form of powder. And in conclusion, we said farmers had a very high perception towards turmeric production as a business. The coefficient for this marital status, farming experience, extension, and knowledge of processing were factors that influence high perception of turmeric production as a business in the study area. Therefore, transfer of this technology as processing and production to farmers is recommended. Next. That's the last for our annual
Go ahead
report.
with your proposals.
Next. This year we want to look at investigation of different post-harvest storage method of Amora. Then objective to determine the best storage method for storing Amora. We know that Amora does not store long. To investigate the appropriate storage method that will facilitate early sprouting, to determine the method that will reduce root rot. Next. Characterization, biochemical, and phenotypic assessment of 3 cultivars of Livingstone potato. The objectives are there. One of them is conduct a comprehensive assessment of the morphological characteristics of the 3 identified cultivars of Livingstone potato and all the next. Gender analysis of turmeric production, processing, consumption among rural households in Imo and Abia, to ascertain gender-specific role in production, processing, and consumption of turmeric in the study area, and to comparative study of nutritional and antioxidant activities of turmeric rhizome from different agroecological zones. The objective is to examine the antioxidant factors of turmeric on humid forest, the rice savanna, and southern Guinea savanna zones to determine the curcumin content of turmeric flower from different agroecology, to verify the minerals, vitamin content of turmeric from different agroecology. Next. Morphological characterization of Livingstone potato accession in Nigeria, to determine morphological diversity among Livingstone accession, to determine root tuber yield performance among the accession, and to identify its potential for improvement. Next. Validation of therapeutic claimed through in vitro antioxidant properties of 3 cultivars of Livingstone potato. The objective is to determine and compare the total antioxidant capacity of 3 distinct cultivars of Livingstone potato used in establishing in vitro assays, to measure and compare the concentration of phenolic compounds and flavonoids in each of the 3 Livingstone potato cultivars, to exploit the relationship between presence of these compounds and the overall antioxidant activity of Livingstone potato, and to assess the radical scavenging activity of each cultivar by examining their ability to eliminate reactive oxygen species and mitigate oxidative stress. Next. Assessment of indigenous knowledge of Hausa potato by the people of Plateau. The objective is to document indigenous knowledge of reference community on cultivation, storage, processing, and utilization, and to investigate the social cultural dynamics surrounding the production and utilization of the crop by reference communities. Investigation and compile information on the various traditional use of Hausa potato within the reference community, and to document the challenges and constraints encountered in the cultivation, storage, and utilization of the crops. Next. Estimating supply response of turmeric in southeastern Nigeria, a Nollevian partial adjustment model approach to quantify Southeast turmeric farmers' supply response to change in the price of turmeric, to determine the effect of non-price incentives such as rainfall, market reforms, and technological change, which can influence farm production, and to examine how turmeric farmers react to price and non-price incentives in the Southeast, to estimate the short and long-run elasticity of production in the Southeast. Next. Evaluating anti-diarrhea and anti-hemorrhage activities of Polynesia arrow roots, to evaluate the acclaimed anti-diarrhea potentials of Amora in experimental animal model, and to evaluate the acclaimed anti-hemorrhagic potentials of Amora in experimental animal model. Next. Evaluating the nutritional potential of Amora for dietary food application. The objectives are to analyze the nutritional or composition of Amora, including macronutrients and micronutrients and bioactive compounds, to identify potential application of Amora as food source or ingredient due to its nutritional value. And the last, next. Unlocking the full potential of Amora through domestic cultivation. Objectives are to establish efficient cultivation methods for Amora in Nigeria, to establish Amora as sustainable and profitable crop for Nigerian farmers, and to position Amora as a valuable contributor to the Nigerian economy. Round up. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Please, let's clap for her. Better clapping, please. Thank you very much. I think it's time for us to ask questions. Can we, ED? 2 questions. Instruction from ED, two. We are going to entertain 2 questions. So I'm going to make it gender sensitive. So 1 male and 1 female. The female, number 1. Then Dr. Ikog, number 2.
Thank you very much, the coordinator. Thank you. Having heard from you and having known now that turmeric is one of the opportunity crops we have now, And under normal circumstances, we can say that turmeric is one of the spices we use to cook. It has been elevated to opportunity crops. My question is this. Farmers actually go in for what gives them the financial aid, financial support. And if you go in to educate farmers on this turmeric, how can you carry the financial approach of it to farmers? How can you get them convinced that if they embark on turmeric, they can use this turmeric to feed their families? They can use this turmeric to, for financial help, actually, so that they can live or combine cassava or yam.
It's understood.
All right,
thank
ma,
you.
with turmeric.
Question number 2.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Sure, lady. Okay. 2 small questions and one concern. You said you are going to do gender evaluation with turmeric. How many people are growing turmeric now? Because you have to make sure that the community, at least a good percentage, 70–80% are growing it before you can get a very good, well, please consider that. Then,
Be loud enough for her to get your question.
percentage awareness. That's my major concern. And then I read from a document that curcumin from turmeric can only be taken in by the body under an oil medium. Some of us use it for akamu and similar things. The women use it for soup. That one is okay because it has oil. So has anybody confirmed that curcumin, which is in turmeric, has to be used in a medium that has oil for it to be useful?
Attend to the questions, please. Only 2 questions. Yeah, only.
Yeah, Madam, you said, can women make money with turmeric? How can they be convinced that they will make? Yeah, I'm trying to answer the question. That is the work of social economics. And if you look at one of the annual reports we reported, somebody has done that, has gone to them to look at how they are the people that said, yes, you can make business with turmeric powder. That is the one they accepted that they can make money, make business, go into business with. That has been ascertained. Thank you. My Oga, Dr. Ikogu. Many work has been carried out. People have done a lot of work under turmeric. You have done a lot of analysis how you can use turmeric, and you are saying using turmeric, use turmeric with water. People like us, we use turmeric in different ways. When you cook with turmeric, you add oil, and it's good for you. Yes, you are asking if work has been carried out on that. I think we'll take note on that. The food scientists here, I cannot answer that question that work has been done on that aspect. But we know that, like the ones we did, that it has a lot of health benefits. And how many people, can I have that question again, sir? You asked how many people?
It's still part of the first one. In your gender evaluation, what percentage of people do you have in that community that you think have even known about turmeric or even growing it? Because that should determine the success of your evaluation.
Yeah, we have done a lot of that. We have done, it has been evaluated a lot. We have done a lot of extension work on turmeric, and we have come out with the result that
Turmeric is the foundation ingredient in curry. The curry we use in cooking our rice. And now that tomato is expensive, people are using it to cook jollof rice, even fried rice. Sometimes you cook your rice with turmeric, steam rice with turmeric, and then add other ingredients to make your curry or fried rice. People drink turmeric every morning because of its health benefits. Drink it as green cancer and so many other diseases. So
And,
take note. Those are the things you have to take to the farmers for them to cultivate and be able to make money they are looking for from turmeric. Thank you very much. I think with this, we are okay with root crop program. Can we clap for them, please? As the coordinator goes down, we are inviting coordinator of sweet potato to come forth. Let's go and do your presentation.
Thank you. I stand before all of you to quickly present the Sweet Potato Program annual report and the program of work. Okay. So my presentation will go according to the outline. Talk about the annual reports first, and then the work outlook for 2020. Next. So a quick one is just to let us know how far we have gone, some of the achievements we have already. In the last 1 year in our breeding program, we have tried to move the development of provitamin A sweet potato that has high dry matter than the one we used to have to the varietal release trial phase, and also the journey to develop our purple flesh varieties for the country has begun. And while we are trying to see how to release one for this year, we have also started the journey for another one through the development of segregating population. In socioeconomic studies, the determination of consumer traits preferences to aid breeding has been done, and we will see some of these. And in the seed system, we want to say that we've been able to assess the willingness of sweet potato seed producers to pay for their own training, which is a very key finding for us. So quickly going through the annual report, this is the, so I'll be starting with breeding. And in our breeding program, we have 3 activities under the early development stage, hybridization, seed evaluation, and clonal evaluation. And in the late development, we have the advanced yield trial. Next. So, the development of anthocyanin and beta-carotene-rich sweet potato population through hybridization. This work, like we say, if you want, breeding starts with crossing, and so we set out to develop this population so that we can really create the superfood in terms of nutrition that we are looking towards for the country and for farmers. And so in this, we have been able to have 10 crosses with the purple flesh to create the purple flesh segregating population. And with the hand crosses, as difficult as crossing last year was, which has been said generally, we were able to develop up to 658 seeds, botanical seeds. For the open pollination from 8 families, we have been able to develop over 4,000. So in all, we were able to develop about close to 5,500 seeds that will form the basis for the superfood nutritional varieties that we are looking towards. Next. Then for the seedling evaluation of newly developed F1 population, suffice to say, we use, oftentimes when you have a large population like this, you want to go through the indirect selection method. And so when we look at the number of marketable roots that this population, these are segregating population, produce, we will see that 59% of them did not even produce marketable root numbers. And so, but then we have over 245 progenies that actually produced marketable root numbers, which give us a very good platform to continue our selection process. And out of those 245, over 51% of them are deep orange to orange in flesh color. So this is a pointer to the fact that our nutrition breeding platform is very active, and we are carrying it to 2024. So next. Then in our advanced performance evaluation trial, 28 exotic genotypes and 3 checks were evaluated. And what that biplot is showing is when you look at those genotypes that are very close to those important to each trait, then those are the ones that have high values for that trait. And so in all, we are able to select 10 superior genotypes that will be advancing to UYT this year. And when you look at that biplot very well, all those materials that are towards the left there, they have high performance value. Next. So in our seed system, previously we have done a lot in the seed system. We have moved the seed system of sweet potato from the informal level to the semi-formal level, but that's not where we are going to stop. We will continue to take everything to the formal level. And we have determined the willingness of farmers even to pay for seed. That has been done already. So in this work, we now try to see from, the work was on the analysis of farmer seed system in Ebonyi State, Southeast Nigeria. And then when we look at their system here, we still see that Onyorima, which is a local variety, still predominates in that environment. But then we are also, all our elite materials released from the Institute are also available. But according to those that went to the field for this work, part of the reason why you see a lot of people are planting the local materials is also because the seed system, the seed for the varieties, the improved varieties, are not always available at the very time that they need them. So then they go back. They demand for it, they go back to their own when they can't get them. And so, which means that we still need to find ways of making sure that our seed system is optimal in that environment. And then, so the level of farmers' knowledge of the seed technology, they have very good knowledge of the technologies that we have that we have put out there for the production of a sweet potato seed. And all those ones you see in red simply means that the 1.91 is the grand mean, and any value that is more than that 1.91 simply means that the values that we see there is significant. So a lot of farmers actually have our seed system technologies, which is a plus for us. Next. And so in this, when we look at the constraint that the seed system is having in that study area include pest and disease, which is even 100% strongly agreed, and the inadequate planting materials at the onset of rain, which I highlighted, and inadequate knowledge of vine conservation, and we are taking all of that on board to see how we can help them. Next. And then we want to also, because a lot of farmers keep saying we need training, and we know the capacity of the Institute to provide training is limited due to funding, so we want to know whether they are actually willing to pay for their own training. And so when we went to field to do this study, we see that, yes, we are glad to report that they actually want to fund their own training, and the trainings that they really want to fund, training on all about sweet potato. There is a training document about all you need to know about sweet potato, so they want to know, they want that. They also want training on quality seed production and also value addition services. And then some of the, yes, and the farmers' willingness for service, we see that all about sweet potato is actually about 56% of them, they are ready to pay for that training, and also on the seed delivery services, they are ready to pay for that training. Next. Next. Okay, next. So for the socioeconomics, breeders, we need information. We don't just breed. So we have our profile traits that we breed for, but we also want to have feedbacks from the field. And so this work is giving us some level of feedback from the field to keep helping us to optimize the traits we breed for. So this is consumer perceptions and trait preferences of different sweet potato varieties in Anambra State, and it's a guide to breeders. The table 1 there, we see that King J and the white flesh are the most preferred, but when you look at Mother's Delight, you see is most preferred, 23% pick it for as their most preferred variety, but also 23% say, I prefer it. So which means that a lot of them, Mother's Delight also is not doing badly in the field. And so this has helped us to know the white flesh and the King J are most preferred because of the high dry matter, and this we have known, so this result is reinforcing that. And also, then when we look at the real trait preferences for consumption, and then we see that the taste is key, color is key, nutritional content is key. So when we see color and the nutritional content, the flesh color, then we know that is because of the provitamin A, which means that people actually know what is good for their body, and they are looking out for the provitamin A to consume, and that's a plus for us. Next. And then we want to know about the effect, because now we know that climate change is a big issue. We want to know how this is affecting the sweet potato farmers on the field in Anambra State. And so this study actually wanted to know the familiarity of farmers with weather patterns. And so we see that flooding is their most important problem that climate change is bringing to them. They just can't find ways it's actually affecting them. And then rainfall pattern that is changing is affecting them, then high temperature in that order. And then when we look at the adaptation strategies that they have put in place to cope with this, we see crop rotation, we see changing planting dates and harvesting dates. And so for now, we have understood that this is what they are doing, and this will also help us to breed for earliness. Now we are beginning to see that producing early maturing ones will also assist them in, and also nutrient efficient materials. We do a lot to help them in this regard. And then key one also breeding for flood tolerance, because all root and tuber crops don't like excess water, so we have to find a way around this through breeding. We will get it. Next. Next, okay. So, no, please go back. So promoting dry season sweet potato farming for sustainable food production in Southeast. This work was set out to know what are the irrigation methods that they apply in the Southeast here. And we see that the drainage channel is the most important that is practiced, then followed by watering can. And then when we look at, now the next question is, if I invest in irrigation method and produce during the dry season versus during the rainy season, what benefit will accrue to me? And so we see that the rate of return on investment, the ROI, is 6 naira 62 kobo for the irrigated production, and 1 naira 65 kobo for the rain-fed production. So which means that the irrigated production is actually far more profitable than the rain-fed. Next. Next. Okay, so different farmers harvest at different times. And at times we breed some of these materials for 4 months, then farmers harvest at 3 months, 2.5 months. especially Mother's Delight that will quickly bulk. So the issue is, are we missing anything? Just like someone said, just the last presenter, that dry matter, during cassava, when you harvest too early, you'll be losing dry matter. And this also is applicable here. We've been able, this figure 1 is showing us the dry matter accumulation at different physiological ages of sweet potato cultivars. We see that at 16 weeks after planting, your dry matter is optimum, except for Mother's Delight, which has high beta-carotene content. For every other one, at 16 weeks after planting, that is when you have the highest level of dry matter accumulation. You leave it a little longer, it starts to go down. Then in figure 2 also shows the converse. You see that the beta-carotene is showing a inverse reaction also. This has confirmed that. Next. So just to nail that, don't harvest too early, otherwise you will be compromising. And this is the end of my annual report. Okay, thank you. So to quickly go through.
Finish. Present your proposal, please.
Okay, for the proposal next. For the breeding, we are going to have about, I'll be having about 7 activities under breeding that spans hybridization, seedling evaluation, clonal evaluation, preliminary yield trial, screening for early bulking and drought tolerance. And in the late breeding phase, we'll be having advanced yield trial. And then the pre-release phase, we'll be having 2 activities, the national performance trial and the on-farm trial. And then for the release and deployment, we hope to be able to release some varieties. That is key. It's been 2018 when we released variety last, and it is very key in our mind. So the second one is our seed system. We won't stop until we get to the to a very good point where money it becomes money. So we'll be building a community-based sweet potato seed business model for decentralized vine multipliers in Southeast. In sweet potato, when we say decentralized vine multipliers, this is the business aspect of it. Farmers that are producing seed, for commercial purpose. And the objectives are as stated. We'll be looking at the adopted community business model, and then we'll go ahead and look at the constraints also in the seed system. Then proposal 3 is sweet potato seed production medium technology, analysis of use of triple S, net tunnel, and traditional approaches among DVMs in Abia State. Now, DVM, that's decentralized vine multipliers. So we want to look at some of these things have been extended to farmers over time. We want to see how they are practicing it and the constraints that they are having in that in the seed system value chain. Next. Evaluation and enhancement of the wound healing efficiency and storability of sweet potato, a guide to breeders and youths and women in cooperative societies. So this work actually, we want to cure sweet potato. We don't want to use any chemicals or what have you. Can we then use, botanicals? And that is what this work is out to do. And then development of eco-friendly pesticides, using locally sourced raw materials for a resilient and sustainable root and tuber crop production. I mean, eco-friendly pesticides, and that would be a wonderful one if we can have a pesticide that is eco-friendly and that will still do the work very well. Next. Then, analysis of bioactive components in methanolic extracts of sweet potato varieties. There is a rider to this work also. There are 2 works that will be combined in this. The 2 of them are looking at bioactive components, in our sweet potato extract, the orange flesh, the white flesh, the yellow flesh. So what are the bioactive compounds that are in there that can apply to even pharmaceutical industries and also the food industry? The next one also is farmers' perception and possible strategies to increase adoption of improved sweet potato production technologies in Southeast Nigeria. So we will be estimating the adoption of sweet potato technologies by farmers, and also will determine the possible strategies to improve adoption of our new varieties across Southeast. Next. Analyzing climate-smart pest and disease management control among sweet potato seed producers in Southeast Nigeria. So we will be looking out for climate smart disease control methods, and then we want to see how this will pan out in the communities where this work will be carried out. Assessment of strategies towards the adoption of orange flesh sweet potato in Boluwadro local government area of Osun State. Now, we are beginning to move to the south west also. In Osun State is one of the strongholds of OFSP, but then how far has the adoption of OFSP been, especially this is where our institute is located. We want to start doing some works over there, and that is why this work is proposed. Next. Dry season evaluation of yield and biochemical composition of sweet potato as influenced by selected organic wastes under different irrigation frequencies in Otobi, Benue State. So this is coming from Benue, and then the scientists will try to look at the dry season evaluation of the yield, and then the biochemical composition. And also for, this is the second to the last one, we'll be evaluating the efficacy of container types and soil volume for sweet potato container cultivation for urban gardening. I mean, Prof asked sometime today, those that are in town, in the cities, when they don't have the land, but they have their compound. So this is addressing that for sweet potato. Next. And then, this is climate smart agronomy. Our plant density recommendation, our fertilizer recommendation for optimum sweet potato production has been old, 20 years, or probably more than that. So we want to recalibrate and see under this changing climatic condition, do those things still hold, or do we have to? A lot of other crops have shifted. I mean, some of these things, plant density, cassava now is the spacing is 1 meter by 0.8 meter. So does this still hold in sweet potato, or do we have to shift and then have more plant density? And that is why this work is being done. Next, and thank you very much for listening.
Wow, that was wonderful. You can see 10 reports and about 13 proposals within the space of time you did it. That was a good job. And now it's time to ask questions. Idi, how many questions are we asking? 2. 2, okay. 2, and Idi will take the third one. So, okay. Now, we also are looking at gender. We want to include everybody. So, number 1 over there. Who else? Is there any female gender that is interested? Okay. Dr. Okewin, good to see you. Welcome. Okay, you are number 2. Number 1, please.
Thank you very much. I like your presentation when you had to go with the stage gate for the breeding, and then I saw the collaboration with other programs. But then, since we have online participants, and this might not go for you alone, but for others, what collaboration are you seeking for? Okay, in terms of what you want to deliver within the year, do you have enough resources within it? What are the collaborations with other units? Because, I mean, we see you, but then where are the other units that collaborate with you? Time might not be there, but then those have to also be included. Because there might be people who want to how do I come in with the program you are doing in terms of sweet potato? What are the areas that I could, because nothing is just a presentation of what we want to do, but if somebody wants to get in, there's nothing in the presentation that once somebody says, I want to be able to get into that, and that would be very glad for you to. I'm doing it because we have RTB breeding. If we want to do sweet potato in the course of the year, we want to provide you with more funding. Where is it going to be? It's not showing in it. It's like everything is fine, so, but then you have external audience, and that will help. Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks for the excellent presentation. Just as a matter of curiosity, what is your climate smart strategy for development of sweet potato? What's the strategy? Do you have opportunity to develop drought-tolerant sweet potato? First question. The second one, if you were to prioritize sweet potato production, where will you put it on? For seed production, or for root production? Because you really need to look at where the opportunities will be created. For example, rain-fed agriculture, you know, is about 90% to 95% in Africa. It was 95 to 90, basically. Now, when production season comes in, how do you feed farmers with enough seeds? And does it mean because you have Umudike seeds, you don't do research on irrigation agronomy? Do you do research on irrigation agronomy? Who owns that responsibility? Umudike seeds or your program? Thank you.
I think we are done with the questions. Can you please, coordinator?
Okay, please let me thank you very much for those reactions. Those are wonderful reactions, and they speak to what we actually doing and what we intend to do. The last question, I will start from there. So who does, do we do irrigation agronomy? Yes. Part of the ongoing work that is not listed here because it's an ongoing work is actually the development of irrigation packages for seed and root production. And that 1 year waiting for the repetition of it this year so that we can bring the results out. And so presently, Umudike, for the seed system, Umudike is the center for production of the early generation seed. And though we need optimization, we need a lot of help in that aspect, which speaks to the first question also, where do you think you need collaboration, you need help? If someone wants to help you, we actually need not just help, plenty help. And then one of it is to move the seed system, because no matter what we breed, if it's not getting to farmers, then we know that it's not doing the work very well. And how does it get to the farmer? It means that the seed system value chain must be very optimal. And how can it be made optimal? Is we have been given the challenge to produce early generation seed. We have developed the seed system to a point where we have the value, the DVMs, the decentralized vine multipliers, but then the protocol, the seed certification protocol has been drawn but has not been adopted, work has not finished on this with NASC. Sometime late last year in December, I was asking the NASC when we were at Verita release committee meeting, I was asking the NASC representative, Oga, how far with sweet potato seed certification system? And he said, we have it, but we are looking for funding to bring stakeholders together, deliberate on it, and do training, and then begin to work on it. So that is one investment that we are looking for help for, and we will accept help from anyone. Then our breeding system needs a lot of funding also. We want to be where cassava is. We want to be able to go, use a lot of the digital tools they are using to move it forward. We want to do a lot of genomics to cut short our system. We also have in the sweet potato breeding system, like a prof, you asked the question in the morning about speed breeding. We have the protocol for speed breeding, but we cannot adopt it here for now. SIP already developed that, but we cannot adopt it here because it needs funding. Even at early generation stage, you have to go multi-locational, you have to involve farmers. It's a good way to even use tricots, but then it takes a lot of money other than the normal, piecemeal money that we normally have. That is one huge area that we will need investment to rapidly scale up our breeding program. And then, so what is our climate smart strategy for sweet potato? We know we have the avoidance strategy and we know the tolerance strategy. We are combining both. One of the works here, 1 year has been done. That's why it's not. We are phenotyping for early bulking, early bulking traits, so that we'll be able to produce even those that will bulk rapidly in areas, core north, where the rainfall pattern is very short. I mean, duration is very short. And then also we want to also help the plants, varieties. We want to develop varieties that are able to tolerate, heat and drought. Drought at the tuberization point, and that is the most critical time when drought, incidents affect yield in sweet potato. The moment there is drought, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks after planting, you're going to get next to nothing. So at their material, we want to develop varieties that will be able to do this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think this is the end of our own presentation. Could you please give us a rousing applause, please? Edie, sir, I think we are done, and we are free to take our leave. Thank you very much. Thank you, the rapporteurs. Thank you, coordinator. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
I want to believe we're not tired. We just had lunch. Can we please give a resounding applause to the chair and the rapporteurs and all the coordinators that just presented? They've done a very wonderful work. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of time, we want to invite the chair for this session. The next session, Dr. G.N. Asmoga. Please, can we celebrate Dr. G.N. Asmoga, the former Acting Executive Director of National Root Crop Research Institute. So you're welcome. Yeah, the rapporteurs for this session will be Dr. Choma Obasi and Dr. Confidence Carlo. Please, can you join the chairman? We'll be starting this session with the Farming Systems Program. With the permission of the chairman, I want to welcome the coordinator for Farming Systems Program, please, Dr. Nrcri, for his presentation. Can we give him a round of applause?
Good evening, all. The day is far spent, so we are going to be very brisk. I've just discussed with the Eid. So we have 2 programs, farming system program and the extension services program. And for each of the programs, we have a 15 minutes presentation and 5 minutes proposal, 20 minutes each. We are going to end before 6. So please exercise patience. Dr. Innocent Onyekure, Coordinator of Farming System Program, present your annual report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The chairman, the executive director, all protocols duly observed. So I'm here to present the annual report and proposals of Farming Systems Research Program. First of all, what's the objective of the program? The objective of the program is to improve the total farming systems of resource-constrained farmers in Southeast Nigeria, through which we do by conducting diagnostic soil survey to find the production problems. Then we solve them through our approaches which is on-station and on-farm research. Then the extension sector, the research sector, the policymakers, the input providers. Then we solve the agricultural problems of the zone. Back to the first slide. So what have you achieved? We've succeeded in developing technologies and improved production recommendation packages for both crops and livestock. And we transferred this to farmers through the ADP system at the monthly training review meetings, through their SMSCs. Then the SMSCs at their fortnightly training meetings, we now train the EAs that we use the T and V systems now to get to the farm families and solve those problems. We also succeeded in conducting diagnostic survey in 2 states, Abia and Imo. You can recall that the last one was done in 1985. Then, the next slide. So, let's look at what we did last year. The monthly review meeting, we targeted 60. At the end of the day, we scored 0. That 60 is 5 per state. The state governors, they are not here. They didn't sponsor the ADP system for monthly training review meetings. But thank God for this year, we've started well. At least Abia is scoring, I think they've had one. And the commissioner promised yesterday, the Director Extension Services Abia State, the commissioner promised him yesterday that by April, that they are coming back for MTRM. That's a good news. So refills, we also scored 0. No state government sponsor refill. So we are now asking for sponsorship. Can we get the people that will now come and sponsor our refills for the zone? Then the offer was not also conducted. Joint space scientific evaluation was not conducted. So at our report, the diagnostic survey of farming systems of Abia and Ebonyi State, the objective was to investigate farming practices and identify agricultural production constraints in both states. So we worked at the 424 circles in Abia State and 240 circles in Ebonyi State. That's where we get our respondents from, those farmers. Because whatever thing you are doing, if you don't get to the circles, you are not helping yourself. Then at the end of the day, we found out that the major problem is low extension agent farm family ratio. According to World Bank, you are supposed to have 1 extension agent covering 500 EAs. But in Abia and Ebonyi, we now saw that it's a ratio of 1:5,000 to 1:10,000. For instance, in Abia State, we have 424 circles. We had only 91 EAs. And the funny aspect of it, out of the 91, majority of them concentrated in Abia and Umuahia, 45 of them in Aba, 42 of them in Umuahia, only 4 in a whole on half-year zone. How can they deliver? I think Ebonyi is better. That means the whole Abia State, only 91 EAs out of 424 circles. Then in Ebonyi State, it's 102 EAs out of 240 circles. Just look at it. Then for those few EAs, they are not mobile. Because if you are not mobile, you cannot get to the farm families. It's a big problem. And this affected the accessibility of improved seeds, low adoption system. Another problem we saw during the survey was low yield as a result of declining soil fertility. The next slide. So here, we try to do a study on enhancing productivity and climate resilience in cassava-based systems through improved nutrient, water, and soil management in Nigeria. So activity 1, we try to look at the effect. So to ascertain the effectiveness of higher phosphorus and potassium rate on yield of cassava, we have our recommendation, Umudike recommendation, that said that you should apply 90 kg N, 20 kg P205, 90 kg, 75 kg K20. Then in this experiment, we had 4 treatments One is the control. The other one, we now try to increase the phosphorus rate by 26 kg P2O5. Then the potassium to 160. The nitrogen, we reduce it to 70. Then in one of them, we have to add 3 tons new to ascertain the effectiveness of integrated nutrient management on yield of cassava. So, and at the same time, we ascertain the effectiveness of climate-smart agricultural practices. Because in our own, we say apply 2 months after planting, that's 8 weeks. We have to apply all that. But in that intervention, we try to apply the phosphorus immediately after planting because of the nature of phosphorus. Then the nitrogen, 1 month after planting, that's 4 weeks, we applied the first rate of 50. Then the second rate, that's the remaining 50, we have to apply at 8 weeks after planting. The same thing was applicable to potassium. So let's look at the result. So from the result, we can now see that the one we added 3 tons of poultry manure gave us the best. This trial was conducted in Nrcri and the Benue State. So look at the yield. It's in Benue State, it gave us almost 40 tons per hectare of fresh roots. Then in Nrcri, 45.5. So let's look at the lessons learned. So following the result obtained from the study and the conclusion, the best rate for better cassava performance in both locations was treatment 3, where we used 70 kg and 26 kg P2O5 plus 160 kg K2O plus 3 tons of manure produce the best yield, both stem and fresh roots in all the locations. Then integrated nutrient approach should be considered the best option for improving performance and ensuring sustainable cassava production.
Hello. How many reports are you presenting?
10.
How many reports?
10.
10?
Only.
And you are still on 1?
No, 2.
Half of your time is gone, no?
This is 2.
I'm stopping you at 5:15.
Okay. So the treatment, no, though not significantly different from that one obtained from Umudike recommended, should be recommended for cassava production in Southern Guinea Savannah agroecological zone. So the second objective, the second activity, we try to look at its effects on soil quality. Let's move. Next slide. Next slide. So if you look at it, the integrated nutrient was able to reduce the acidity, increase phosphorus, increase organic matter, increase nitrogen, and increase K. The same thing is applicable. Next slide. Okay. So you can now look at it that the 70 kg and plus 3 tons of poultry manure is therefore recommended for soil quality improvement in area studied. The next slide. So we try to look at the economic solution, but what a farmer is after is naira and kobo. So look, next slide. So at Otobi, that's Benue State, you can see that the recommendation gave a better income compared to the integrated nutrient. Then at Nrcri is the same result. Move. So based on the findings of this study, it is more profitable to produce cassava using NCRI's fertilizer recommendation rate. What we try to do here, there is a fertilizer law in Nigeria. When you produce, it must be evaluated. Then before you can now recommend to farmers. Let's move. So we did here, move. Next slide. We collected the soil samples. We established the requirement for ginger, which is 45 kg N, 20 kg P2O5, and 50 kg PM, plus the nutrient composition of UBC with this 6 formulation. At the end of the day, we saw that you cannot produce ginger alone with UBC fertilizer. If you look at the result, you can now see that 427 kg of UBC plus 112.5 kg of NPK 2010-10 gave the best yield. But it was not significantly different from the yield obtained from the one you put 56.25 kg NPK and 168.75 kg NPK. Next slide. For fresh yield increase in ginger production in the area stored, this UBC organic fertilizer can be supplemented with NPK fertilizer. Therefore, any of treatments 3, 4, 5 is recommended. So you can use this treatment or this formulation alone, this UBC, for ginger production without supplementing with NPK. That is the composition of the UBC. That is the N composition, P composition, and K composition. So we now try to look at its effect on soil quality. Let's move. So the same treatment, there is a reduction in soil acidity, increment in phosphorus, increment in organic carbon, increment in nitrogen, and increment in K. That means for soil improvement, so you can use UBC in addition to that quantity of NPK fertilizer. Move. Next slide. Next slide. So this is assessment of cocoyam processing technology and utilization in Ebonyi State. So we try to investigate constraints militating against cocoyam processing, consumption, and utilization in the study area. Next slide. Constraints, you can see that education level, annual income has a positive relationship with processing. Then when you come to consumption, you can now see that sales and annual income has positive relationship. So we use linear regression for this method. Then for utilization, you can now see that education level, education level, utilization. Next slide. Because this particular cassava variety was bred because of vitamin A deficiency. So we want southeast, 5 southeast states, 42 blocks, 172 circles. Let's move. Next slide. So if you look at the awareness, out of the respondents, you can see that 180 of them, they were not aware. 281 of them were aware. Then when you come to adoption, 198 have not adopted, while 143 adopted. Let's move. Let's look at the constraint. The cell root starts decaying immediately after maturity. Then we ask them to harvest early. When you harvest early, you are not going to complain of the root decay. High cost of cassava stems, limited access to cassava stems, high moisture content is a problem of extension education, because if they have extension workers, they will now tell them why they cannot compete to white flesh. Poor soil fertility is the same problem of lack of extension education to tell them how to manage their soils. Poor yield. Next slide. So these are the problems, the constraints. So agricultural livelihood enhancement among rural women and youth cooperatives through utilization of improved selected seed and production technologies in Ebonyi State. Role of extension agents. So we try to identify the constraints militating against rural women and youth engaged in agriculture in the study area. Next slide. So we can now see that the marital status, education level, and household farming experience has a positive relationship. We also use linear here, a positive relationship with determinant of utilization of improved seeds. Then for youth, we can see that household size, extension contact, and income also has positive relationship. Next slide. So strengthening the extension services, we address the potential gaps in outreach and accessibility to ensure that farmers, particularly women and youth, have adequate access to information, resources, and support. Next slide. So gender role on climate agriculture on small holder farmers of some selected root and tuber crops, cassava, sweet potato, and ginger in Imo State. Here, we are trying to assess the level of utilization of climate-smart agricultural practices by gender in the area. Let's move. So if you look at that figure, the first figure, when we look at sex, look at mixed farming, you can see that male more in minimum tillage, agroforestry, male engaged more, then biogas, male engaged more, then on mulching, female engaged more. So the second figure, we are trying to look at, this is for the youth, the age difference, those below 25, 25 to 40, and above 40. Look at it, you see mixed farming, those below 40 are more, about 75 of them. Then for minimum tillage, those ones above 40 are more. For agroforestry, those ones within 28 to 40 are more. For integrated pest management, the same, 25 to 40 are more. For biogas usage, 25 to 40 are more. For mulching, the ones above 40 are more. Age-specific education training program to address the gaps identified in climate-smart agricultural practices among the gender is recommended. Okay. Next slide. So development and integration of agribusiness, gender, and youth engagement strategy for market-led production of root and tuber crop produce in Nigeria. So the objective is to develop a market-oriented strategy framework on the integration of women and youth in agro. Next slide. So this is effect of climate change on beekeeping production in southeast and south-south Nigeria to identify mitigating the effect of climate change on honey production. So among the approaches, apiary, relocation, increase in number of beehives, hive modification, planting of trees that attract bees, diversification in bedding materials, intercropping. If you look at it, they engage more in hive. So the next slide. So assessment of production and consumption of ginger in Imo State. So to identify the constraint to ginger production and consumption in the study area. So when you look at the estimate of cost and returns from ginger production, from the profit, you can see that from 1 hectare, so you can get 267,400 naira. That means ginger production is a good business in ongoing. Let's look at the move.
5 minutes on.
Move. Keep on going. So look at what the question here asked yesterday. What the farming system, what we are doing to mitigate the problem of herders-farmers clashes. So let's move to the new ones. These are ongoing. Move to new proposals. Move to new proposals. These are ongoing. Okay. Enhancing productivity through evaluation of compatibility of area yam, Dioscorea bulbifera, with maize egusi melon in intercropping system. All of us, we know the importance of Dioscorea bulbifera. So, because of that, we want to subject it to, intercropping system. Let's look at the adaptability and at the same time compatibility. The next. So adoption of climate-smart agricultural practices through evaluation of biological weight control efficiency on varied cover crops in ginger-based intercropping system. We know that the problem faced with ginger is weight. And at the same time, all of us, because of the effect of greenhouse gas emission, we are trying to look at a technology that will now enhance productivity and at the same time, enhance resilience and reduce greenhouse. So we want to use various cover crops to serve as weed control for ginger production in this intercropping system. The next one. So evaluation of stem bioorganic fertilizer in yield and soil quality grown to ginger is a new product. So we want to evaluate it. Let's move. So on-station evaluation of productivity of true-nearly cassava varieties in cassava, maize, egusi, melon intercropping system. What are we trying to do here? Yes, they've released those varieties. They are now with farmers. We want to get information because somebody can now ask you, yes, you have information on sow cropping. What is the information when you intercrop? What's the information of it? So we are doing it for cassava, we are doing it for yam, we are also doing it for ginger. Let's move. Move, that is for yam, for ginger. So on-farm trial and evaluation of compatibility of cassava and upland rice in an intercropping system. This is on-farm. What are we trying to do? We want to demonstrate to the farmers because we've done it on station. We saw that its suitability to our soils. We saw that it's adaptable. We saw it's compatible. And we saw it's profitable. So we now want to extend it to farmers. There is hunger in the land. So what can we do? From a small piece of land, that farmer can get rice and at the same time get cassava. Let's move. So supply of improved cassava, yam, sweet potato, and ginger plant material to women and youth farmers from Oboro and Olokoro host communities. What we are trying to hear is to increase the productivity of the farmers in our host communities. Evaluation of the effect of newly released cassava varieties on women participation and income generation in Imo State. We are now trying to see these newly varieties, how profitable it is for our women farmers. The next one. So gender sensitivity strategies for controlling cocoyam leaf blight and root rot, incorporating women's expertise in pest and disease management. So we are trying to get their own indigenous knowledge because it's important. So if you can get their own indigenous knowledge, it can assist us to make a statement. So assessment of the effectiveness of extension services to the needs and challenges of youth and women cooperatives in Anambra State, Nigeria. Gender equality and women. So characterization of aquaculture and soils in Umudike and Makurdi metropolis. We are trying to we study the morphology, the chemical properties, the suitability of such soils for aquaculture. So enhancing performance of African giant snails with cocoyam and sweet potato. All of us, we know importance of giant snail, importance of snail. So, and the problem of climate change, getting them from the bush is a problem. So let's see if we can enhance the growth using cocoyam and sweet potato peels and leaves. The next one. Next one. Exploring the therapeutic effect of ginger and garlic supplement in broiler diet, alleviating heat stress. Move. So evaluation of turmeric and ginger for coccidial treatment in chicken, empowering youth and agribusiness in 3 Southeast states. Our target here is for youth empowerment. Move. We still have 30. Eh? So we have 30 proposals. We have 30 proposals.
And
eh?
Don't worry. 30 proposals. Don't worry. They will be screened. Thank you very much, Dr. Innocent, Coordinator Farming System Research Program. I gave you 20 minutes. You have taken 30 minutes. Yes, 30 minutes. Please, we give opportunity to 3 hands only. Please, do you have anything to Acts of Dr. Ikwele 1, Dr. No 2, no lady between Dr. Ikogo and Dr. Muzo. Who?
Okay,
okay, two of you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mine is question and a comment. This is a very important program in this institute, farming system research. And if you listen to the presentation, you can see it cuts across a lot of discipline. And my understanding and knowledge for the past 2 days I have been here is that a lot of work has been done in this institute. Not much work has been done for a long time. And I give a lot of kudos to the President, ED, and the research staff of this institute for the work I have had these past days. A lot of new innovations have taken place in the institute. But my only worry now is how do this work get to the end users? That's the farmers and the entrepreneurs that we need these newly generated technologies in the institute. You see, listening to the presentation in the farming system, I found out that there was total absence of working with the ADPs. Because the ADPs had been a very good link between the research and the farmers. I remember in those days, during meetings like this, you will see the ADPs, they will come with their team. They will be here in the meeting, listening to the results that are given. And also, they will be given opportunity their own report, and we listen to them and how we work with them. You see, I saw that there's no MTRM again going on. No adaptive research with the ADP farmers. So please, my appeal, and I think this will also involve even the ministry, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and that the ED will take up this matter and we see how to return to this collaboration with the ADPs. Because we cannot just be working like this, getting results, and they are being left in the shelf, and they are not getting to the farmers for which results are made. So let's see how we can collaborate with them, speak with them. I was happy that the Executive Secretary himself was here yesterday, and this issue came up a bit. But we should take it further. It will not just be resting with us here. We take it, in fact, if you leave these things and don't have a touch of politics, political approach to it, sometimes you may not get what you want.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.
This is just what I want.
Yes, so thank you, sir. This is where we are. Luckily, the executive director is here. We know a new way we are fashioning. And no, please, you have to make it very brief.
Thank you. Very, very brief. My comment is on the presentation, the 2023 annual report. Most of the reports should go to commodity programs. I was very uncomfortable with defined farming systems, but then there was farming system inside it. But the annual report, not much of farming system was there.
Note that. Number 3, Dr. Muzo.
Please, I want to use this opportunity. I should have asked this question, hence you able to produce. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate sweet potato team. So many years ago, we had only something very close to orange flesh sweet potato. That was ex-Ibariam. But through the aid of the present ED, 3 people traveled to Uganda, Tanzania, and then brought 54 accessions of sweet for keeping this on extension, please. It has been said, MTRM dead, ADPs dead, and so on. Are we going to fold our hands? Sometime the ministry raised plant, get bundles of cottons and distribute to children, students in the school, ask them to plant. Before 1 year, you can be sure this thing will go viral.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. That is a very nice contribution. Finally, Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that
very brief, sir.
People following us behind need to be helped. Farming systems collect information from the commodity programs and see how we transfer them through the system. Some of the things that are presented are not in that format. So I think there is need to get the format of the system, number 1. 2, somebody talked about ADO. And I just seen ADO here being mixed with 2. Why don't you try, ADO has this one now, based on the comments that were made today, why don't you plant them in 1 or 2 mixtures? And
yeah, on this note, I want to thank the Farming System Research Program for a beautiful presentation, both the annual report and the proposal. Let me call on Coordinator Extension Services Program, Okoye.
14 approved projects, 13 funded, ongoing 3. Key achievements under the year review. We covered extensively by various media outlets, highlighting areas in the agricultural sector. Please go to the achievement. Establishment of a demonstration farm, organized channel and database for clean ginger seed production distribution program, capacity building for young scientists, impact of approved cassava and sweet potato technologies, developed a market strategy to integrate women and youth in agribusiness, and production of 4 extension guides. Next slide. The bulletins and publications under review, some of them, some publications, next slide. Some publications specifically with Thomson Reuters, about 8 of them. Next slide. Promotion and dissemination of improved root and tuber crops technology through demonstration farm and excursions. This is what we do on a yearly basis. We established the demonstration farm, showcased the improved technologies, and disseminated good agronomic practices. 558 students from different schools visited. Next slide. Highlights of activities in 2023, media and publicity unit. These activities around the Office of the Executive Director, collaboration, partnerships in that order. Media usage, partnership visit to Michael Obara, Contact Agro Limited, Explores Collaboration, Nrcri Sahel Consulting trained over 50 CSCs for cassava seed businesses. Next Gen Cassava Breeding Project, IITA, organized a Tricot workshop under the year review. ATAPS trained cassava post-harvest management and processing in North Central Nigeria and Southeast. Institute hosts the annual review workshop with more than 450 stakeholders in attendance. Our ED Professor Chidozie Egesi also visited the potato program in Kuru and laid a foundation stone. NRCri collaborates with NASC on enhancing seed systems. NRCri participates in the World Environmental Day tree planting activities. NRCri last year also celebrated the 100 years of establishment we call the centenary and the anniversary Thanksgiving, which is always a yearly ritual where we draw our strengths from. The annual monitoring and evaluation of experimental farms and labs conducted by the Institute, 4 potato varieties released. NRCri, IIT also collaborated in releasing 3 young varieties. NRCri Mudike hosts RTB breeding quality preference partners in Nigeria. Next slide. NRCri team visited the Kaduna State on recent ginger epidemic to salvage the situation ravaging in 8 local government areas. Professor Chiedozie Gesi visits IIT Ibadan for partnership discussions with Dr. Simeon Ehui, Director General. The ED was also inducted as Fellow of the Agricultural Society of Nigeria for contributions to agricultural research and development. Nrcri also receives, that's the ED, received the Kwame Nkrumah Grow Africa Prize for Excellence and won an award for remarkable achievements. Next slide. Professor Sharubutu, the Executive Secretary, visited Nrcri on a work visit to commission new office complex toward the biosciences facility, Umudike Seeds, farm and screen houses. We also propagating our activities on various social media, several of them, to the glory of God. Bulletins and publications of NRSI within the year under review. Next slide. Conclusion, we have done well. Next slide. Development of agro model for clean ginger seed multiplication and distribution in southern Nigeria. Achievements, farmers have been organized and selected as part of developing the seed model for ginger, database developed for clean ginger seed production. Next slide. Capacity building workshop for young scientists on grants and proposal writing. We can do it. Staff in-house trained the young scientists upcoming on competitive proposal writing and encouraging young scientists to seek research grants. Next slide. Assessing the impact of adoption of improved cassava and sweet potato technologies on the livelihood of women farmers in Akwa Ibom State. We demonstrated positive impact on women, as you can see, before and after adoption, there was a significant difference. Next slide. Resource use efficiency honeybee production in Abia State. We determined allocative efficiency and factors influencing inefficiency in honey production. As you can see, most of the input costs affected the total cost of production. Next slide. Socioeconomic and institutional factors influencing root and tuber crop farmers' resilience and adaptive capacity to cope. So we looked at some socioeconomic variables that affect farmers' resilience, and we find out key variables that did this, and we identified constraints hindering farmers from applying climate change interventions. Next slide. Establishment of demonstration farm in Utobi outstation. As part of our activities, IT students were taught to map a farm and identify various varieties, interaction with secondary school students on institute-based production technologies. Next slide. Economic efficiency of seed system production in Otukpo local government area. Yes, cassava seed is business. You can see highly profitable, but laborious. So if we can partially mechanize some of the activities, we'll be in business the more. Next slide. Extension guides were produced. 4 out of 8 has been produced. The next 4 we are ongoing. Next slide. Thank you for listening.
You will agree with me that this is a groundbreaking achievement. Groundbreaking achievement. Dr. Okoye's presentation cuts across all they are supposed to do in the extension. Extension guide, news bulletin, training, impact, adoption. They are all there. So I thank you so much. Hello. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Okoye. So go straight to your proposal.
Yeah, the proposals program of work for 2024. The Media and Publicity Unit will continue with its annual activities of projecting activities in the Institute through the media and image making. Next slide. Another proposal, impact assessment of the taro blight on root rot and poverty, food security status of smallholder farmers in Nigeria. We will analyze the effects of these diseases on the well-being and identify the coping strategies employed by smallholder farmers. Effectiveness of indigenous management practices for control of cocoyam diseases in Southeast. We will assess the effectiveness of these traditional management practices and identify opportunities for integrating traditional knowledge with modern disease management strategies. Gender-specific barriers and opportunities in accessing planting materials for root and tuber crops production in southeast Nigeria. We examine the effect of some sociocultural factors that affect gender-specific barriers and identify opportunities and empowerment potential. Next slide. Effectiveness of extension services in promoting sustainable farming practices among youth and women cooperatives in southeastern Nigeria. We will assess the level of adoption of some of these sustainable farming practices and identify barriers to implementing them and recommend strategies for overcoming barriers. Dissemination and promotion of Nrcri root and tuber crops technology through demonstration farm, very, very important, and guided tours, our ritual, our annual ritual. We'll continue with this. Impact of adoption of selected improved root and tuber crop-based technologies on the livelihood of women farmers in Southeast Nigeria. Impact assessment will assess farm income before and after adoption and assess extent women perceive the impact on adoption. Next slide. Impact assessment of enhanced access to root and tuber crop planting materials. Access to planting materials is an issue. So we want to look at how this affect enhanced access to planting materials on livelihoods and identify challenges associated with improving access to planting materials by women farmers. Empowering women and youths with cooperative skills and agribusiness opportunities in root and tuber crops in Kuru, Plateau states. We organize field days in that order, assess the cost and profitability of four potato varieties. Empowering youths and women cooperatives through training on good agronomic practices for selected root and tuber crop production in Nrcri host communities. Next slide. Impact of information ICT on delivery of agricultural extension services to youth and women cooperatives in Southeast Nigeria. We want to evaluate the impact of ICTs, identify challenges, and recommend strategies for harnessing the potentials to improve extension delivery. Impact of use of irrigation technologies on income and food security statuses of smallholder sweet potato farmers in Ebonyi State. We're going to use some of the Fadama water bodies, identify constraints, opportunities associated with adoption of irrigation technologies, and ascertain the challenge of sweet potato farmers in adopting irrigation technologies around Ebonyi State. Impact of women's cooperative training on knowledge enhancement of cassava value-added products among rural households in Abia State, a certain level of utilization, and determine factors affecting women cooperative education in the study area. Next slide. Effectiveness and cost-benefit analysis of different disease control measures for smallholder ginger farmers in Kaduna. We will determine the economic feasibility of different disease management strategies and identify the most cost-effective, efficient disease control measure for smallholder ginger farmers. Next slide. Knowledge and technical competence level of extension agents on climate-smart techniques for sweet potato production in Anambra State, Nigeria. The ADPs will be contacted and will look at how they fare. Next slide. Exploring the economic viability of value-added bee products and market linkages for youths and women in Southeast Nigeria. Next slide. Economic implications of sweet potato disease incidence and root rot on food security and livelihoods among farmers in Southeast Nigeria. Next slide. Production and dissemination of improved cassava planting materials to youth and women farmers in Nrcri host communities of Otobi, Aba district. You see, we received quite some proposals from the outstations, so we want to carry them along in line with federal government approved projects. Next slide. Empowering youth and women cooperatives in Southeast Nigeria through extension services. Next slide. Dissemination of yam planting materials to youths and women farmers in Nrcri host communities. Next slide. Assessment of the accessibility of agricultural extension services to the youths, men and women cooperatives in Anambra State. Next slide. Training on Nrcri-based agronomic practices and distribution of planting materials to women and youths in Ibariam, one of our outstations. Next slide. On-farm demonstration of Nrcri agronomic technologies in Ibariam substation to promote popularized root and tuber crops to students, farmers, and other stakeholders. Next slide. Adopted village. Yes, it has come to stay. Transfer of Nrcri technologies through adopted village program to sensitize farmers, adopt communities, and establish demonstration farms to catch our youths young in agricultural production and technology utilization. Knowledge and technical competence of extension agent on climate-smart techniques for sweet potato production in Anambra State. Next slide. Proposal on extension guides. We'll have business solutions, what it takes if you optimize fertilizer, herbicide, pesticide, and adoption of our improved varieties in terms of business. What will it add to the farmer's pocket? We will do for cassava, we will do for yam, we will do for sweet potato, we will do for ginger. Next slide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coordinator Extension Services Program, Dr. Benjamin Okoye. I wasn't surprised when the Executive Director asked you to head this program. A round hole in a So, thank you so much. Yeah, I was surprised in your annual report. I didn't hear anything about the adopted villages, but I can now see it in the proposal. Yeah, I'm aware that ARCN is very much interested in this. My advice in all this proposal is that please make sure that the various segments of extension, segments are accommodated. Extension guides, development, news, media, training, impact assessment, adoption, demo farm, and adopted villages. Make sure they are all captured in all these proposals. In fact, some proposals need to be merged. So on this note, three questions only. Richard, number 1, Professor Chinaka, number 2, Dr. Lagu, number 3. Who is there? Number 4, okay. Richard from IITA, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sumuga. No, very well presented. I'm really impressed with the presentation, and it's a very good one, very short, but straight to the point. There were I could see a lot of impact assessment, and I was happy. But most projects shy away from impact assessment because it's expensive. But if your unit can do it, then you can sell it to other projects. Because most projects shy away from impact assessment. They want to deliver the output, but then when it comes to the impact assessment of what they have done, they run away. But if you can do it, then you can sell it to other projects, that you can offer this to the projects, and you can scrape some of their money, which they might not be able to do a complete one, but they can pay part of assessment, and you can offer that and make money for that unit. So that's all that I wanted to contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please note that. Number 2, Professor Chinaka.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Emeka, a wonderful presentation. My observation, part of it has been said by the chairman, that is that some of your proposals need to be made. And 2, in your proposal, number 1 for 2024, that's your media approach. Is it not possible to contact some of the radio stations such that you can collaborate with them? Because I have been approached severally as an individual to come to radio stations to give talks on this or that and the rest of them. Can you not try to collaborate with radio stations, even if it means buying slots?
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I think we used to have media chat. Yeah? Yeah, it is important because you need to market yourself. Very, very important. Number 3, Dr. Lagusa.
Thank you very much. My first question was captured by Professor Chilaka. I'm asking, how do you market all these beautiful guides? How do you market them? It's not just when we have conference to display them here, like sending them to libraries or bookshops or whatever, that people can get access to wonderful publications we have made here. The second question is, sensitization of the secondary schools. That's how I entered School of Agriculture. When I was in class 5, we came here on excursion at School of Agriculture in 1962. And we saw pigs and big hens I had never seen before. So I decided that I want to enter the School of Agriculture. And that's how I've been in agriculture since then. And finally, with a sudden death of ADPs, don't you think that gradually the adopted village can be used to gradually reach out to farmers? Pending the time there will be policy issues. I was thinking in that direction that the ED needs to talk. It has started with Abia state government. Most of these state governments are insensitive to agriculture, except when we're talking about this brigade approach to food security. To talk to them at that low level so that they may not know. In our time, extension agents, we had a little allowance with our bicycles and motorcycles to reach out to farmers. And you write monthly reports before you can collect that allowance. So if you don't motivate them, I think they won't. I want to join Professor Dr. Ikwele in thanking the ED and the staff of this place. With this situation in the country where there's hardship, and you have shown this passion for work, commitment. I don't know how much you spend to come to work from Umai, but still, I'm surprised that people are publishing out. And so I also thank the administration. Everybody here is a PhD holder. That's growth. In those days, we only had Dr. Ena alone with PhD. So I thank you for the effort you have made. Keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I think I've emphasized on this adopted villages and school outreaches. Very, very important. I think there's a project addressing the school outreach. Project handled by Dr. Mark Otokula, Mission Africa. If you can extend that to others. So it's important. You know, we want to catch them young. Thank you so much. Question number 4.
Thank you so much,
Introduce
Dr.
yourself, sir.
I am Reverend Udensi Johnson. I'm presently the Director of Extension Services, Abia State ADP. I've been here since yesterday, observing what is going on here, and I'm so highly elated and very appreciative of the quality of presentation and the quality of jobs that have been done over the years. And surprisingly, I really appreciate the presentation of Dr. Okoye. I never knew that there was a department of extension services in the Research Institute. And I'm so happy, and I will love to solicit the help of the ED that program should include us in whatever activity they are doing within the state, especially the school demonstration farms would like to be involved.
Good.
Both our extension agents and myself and my team will want to understudy them, understand one or two things that are going on there. Because by my observation, it seems as if that it's only the MTRM that is a medium by which technologies are transferred to the ADPs, where we learn. I don't know from what the Nrcri is doing, if there are other avenues whereby we can tap into these wonderful technologies that are coming up, so that we'll be able to transfer to the farmers.
Yeah.
That would be a very wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. I will advise that you link up with Dr. Koye and fashion out area.